Welcome to a new spirit that will warm your heart. Welcome to a new spirit. Every day's a brand new start. Where encouraging words can heal your soul and dreams will be renewed. Welcome to a new spirit, a new spirit in you.
You're just eating like a chicken. Welcome to the New Spirit Radio Show by the Society of Novus Spiritus, founded by world-renowned spiritual teacher Sylvia Browne. Today's date, well, I wrote August 10th of 2022, so I hope you all agree with me. Coming to you live from California, both NorCal and SoCal, are your hosts, Reverend Tom Bigley and MIT Catherine Taylor, playing audio segments we call Messages from Spirit. Why? Answering the ultimate question, why are we here and what is our purpose?
These segments are a recorded trance session from Francine, Sylvia's spirit guide. So for new people, Sylvia was a full trance medium, which means Sylvia contracted to let her and Francine's essences exchange places in Sylvia's body. We think of our bodies being similar to a car, where one driver gets out and another driver gets in. This allowed Francine to share spiritual knowledge with us directly from the other side.
On occasion, another master teacher and healer, a guide named Raheim, would exchange with Sylvia and present us with spiritual information as well. Francine and Raheim shared directly from sources like the Akashic Records, Mother and Father God, our spirit guides, Christ, and many others.
And meanwhile, during trance, Sylvia would sit on a nice bench in a rose garden behind the Hall of Justice on the other side.
And here are our hosts on Earth, MIT Catherine Taylor and Reverend Tom Bigley.
Hey, Tom, how's it going? And hi, everybody.
Hey,
it's so
we're
nice
here.
to see you.
Glad to hear and see all of you. Yes, we were challenged getting on this main computer I use at 5:10. It says, "I'm updating. I'm cleaning. I'm like, hello, we have a show to start here." So I'm anxious, and now my one of my tablet monitors has died. So okay, we'll just keep moving forward. And wonder what the heck's going on. Sure hope someone's listening or can listen to in the conference call. So anyway, quick agenda for people that are new. We love to share. How did you use Novus Spiritus philosophy last week? So yeah, and for those of you that are listening and watching, start thinking about it and adding it in the comments, because we want to share. We want to know. Inquiring minds. Then we get into announcements. We'll have special prayers and a moment of silence. We'll share the trance segments that are the favorite part. While we do participate in meditation, we have some closing notes and talk about appreciation, and we conclude with a prayer by Sylvia. Wait a minute. I forgot the novena, and it's even marked under red because I didn't spell it right. So yes, somewhere in there we have a novena, so watch for that. You're welcome to participate towards the end. I'm supposed to do something like... Oh, you know what? But that one's not... Rotation. When candles don't light. So here's our candle for the evening.
Awesome.
There we go. Let's see. Oh, okay. So we love to share and hear and talk about how did you use Novus philosophy. Okay. Well, the listeners are making comments. Do you want to go first, or do you want to do Rochambeau, or do you want me to go first, or your choice?
Sure, I'll go first. So, we had so first I want to read something really quick. Okay. Just as a reminder, if anyone is sharing is like posting comments on our page during the show. Just remember to keep things about Novus and like discussion about the material rather than self promotion. So that's a request that we make. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And send you lots of love. We know that we're all trying to connect and build our lives, but it's just the request that we would be really, really appreciative if you would join us with. So, okay. So someone had a question that I wanted to answer. Someone posted in the YouTube comments a couple days ago asking, okay, so in the rose garden, where actually is the rose garden on the other side? And so here's a paragraph from Temples on the Other Side from Sylvia. So I'll share what she has to say about this. So the famous gardens of the Hall of Justice are arguably the finest cultivated grounds on the other side. They are quite massive, covering hundreds of acres that contain paths, benches, alcoves, niches, ponds, waterfalls, footbridges, creeks, fountains, and the like, along with a dazzling array of flowers, bushes, and trees of every conceivable type of or species that you could imagine. In God's perfect environment beyond the veil, there is no need for gardening maintenance of any kind, but horticulturists flock to tend and to expand these particular grounds with their own hands. They prefer to do all the menial work themselves. In addition, they enjoy making continual changes and expansions and performing experimental work on the thousands of different species of flora. To these plant people, it's the greatest of joys, and those who stroll through the gardens are always met with the smiling faces of those who maintain them. So
Fun. Okay.
the famous gardens on the other side.
I'll have to register that one. Plus,
Yes.
what was it? Somebody did a map, hand drew a nice art form map of the other side, the way they understood it, from what we've heard. And it'll be fun to go take a look at that again
Yeah.
and see.
If anyone has that, please email it to us. That would be great.
Well,
Let's see if we can
Bob,
find it.
Bob had it in, I don't recall how
Oh,
long ago, but Bob had it and sent it out to a handful of people. Somebody was kind enough to send it in. So, yeah, there's, I don't know, if I think about it, it'd take me a few minutes to find it, to open it, and try and screen share it to take a peek. So I don't want to. If people want to see it, I'd be glad to go get it, but it's going to take a few minutes, and I'd rather keep things kind of rolling here. So we hadn't prepped for that. Let me think for the next time. Maybe we'll find that garden or find that picture.
cool. Yeah. Um, that would be really beautiful and cool to look at. So,
Well, how did you use the and yeah, I'm glad they shared that the question because thinking about we always say, oh, she was in the rose garden, she's in the rose garden. I'm like, yeah, I have no clue where that rose garden is myself, but
yeah.
that was fun to bring that up. But how did you use Novus philosophy?
So, this week I had some opportunities where I uh, spoke a lot more about spirituality with other people
Mm-hmm.
instead of just keeping things to myself. So I've been enjoying like going that route and seeing that it works. It works just fine, and people are just like, oh, that's really interesting. I love having these deep like talks. Absolutely. So it was cool to see. It was cool to be able to do, for one, and second, it was it just made me deeply happy to be able to be of help to other people. And I thought that it was something that I noticed was that it's easy to start a conversation about this topic just by sharing some of the wild dreams that we have all had. So I shared a dream that I had once about talking with an angel, and some of the things that the angel said. I was like, yeah, I had this dream once. Here's what happened. It was really, really interesting, and it just like opened up a pathway for a really nice conversation to share with other people. So I think that is the point that keep coming back to in my mind is the whole point of Gnosticism is just to, for me, is just to get the information out, and people can use whatever is of help to them. Whatever they want or don't want is fine. So
Yeah. What's Sylvia's famous phrase is take with you what you want and leave the rest.
absolutely. Take
Fun.
what you want and leave the rest. Yeah. What about you?
Well, nothing. I'm just like I'm here. That's the big part. I didn't get a chance to stop and sort through, so I didn't bring up a topic.
That's cool. Well,
Anybody got share something in the comments that they were sorting through?
yes. So Miller's shares. Me too. I spoke about spirituality, and coworkers said it was so nice to hear about it all, and I shared this page with the group. Fantastic. That's cool. As always, to anyone new at any point who's picking this up, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out, and we're just happy to offer information and
Yep.
togetherness. So yeah.
And a fun note that I share with people, new people that I talk to and want to know more about the philosophy. I think of this as like a puzzle. All this information is like
True.
a puzzle. You're going to get a lot of different pieces, and each one is unique and fascinating and catches your attention, and you go, oh, or at least for me, over time, it was like, oh, I've got all these wonderful pieces, but how do they connect to each other? Well, the more you listen and learn about the philosophy, read Sylvia's books, read our Journey of the Soul books, you're going to get another one of those golden nugget pieces, and that's going to connect 5 pieces or a whole bunch of pieces together, and you'll go, wow, there's this whole now group, and it's just going to keep adding on. You'll get more of these groups, more little pieces, and they're all going to connect, and you're going to find more and more a larger puzzle, with pieces that are fit together.
Absolutely. So some other comments we have. Miller's also said tools of protection for all driving on the highway and protection for all animals. And that is the most common in my day and night. That's awesome. I've been praying for, now every time I pray for the Holy Spirit, I also pray for the man to fight against the like addiction energy that is so rampant in Los Angeles. And I notice a difference. I do notice a difference in the energy feel by making that prayer. George says, I prayed for world peace, world love, and world harmony. That's beautiful. Tangela says, reading topic 4, Reason for Life, and the astrological signs, and applying what I need to practice to overcome my sign. That is very cool. High five.
Wow. Okay. Well, when you say overcome your sign, that makes me, maybe you can for me, it's like, oh, you're overcoming it. It's like it's a burden or something, which, okay, that's possibility. It's just, is that how you feel, or is it you're coming to terms or understanding the connection of it? That's anyway. That's just my question on it.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So I remember what she said about Scorpios, which is my sign. And she said that the thing with Scorpios is that they have to watch it to not get into super, super, super bad mood spaces, like super depressed. Because when, like, there's nothing as bad as a depressed Scorpio, basically. And so it's like, nobody's as depressed as depressed Scorpio. I'm like, okay. So I keep that in mind. Like, that was kind of a reality check. Like, okay, I need to use every tool in my toolbook to work on, like, keeping my body in a good place, my body chemistry in a good place, my diet in a good place, making sure that I am working on like releasing things that I don't need anymore. So I balance. So I do personal therapy for that, as well as spirituality and prayers and meditation. And so I just like every tool across the toolbook. I'm like, sign me up for that, because I know what she was talking about when she said they're none of the depressed Scorpio. Like, oh,
Spiritual cleansing.
spiritual cleansing, exactly.
Keeping yourself emotional maintenance, as it were, emotional
Exactly.
and intellectual maintenance.
Yeah, and having
keep you-
faith in myself that I can do that. Having faith in yourself that you can work on your moods. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
Instead of pulling out a gallon of ice cream.
Yeah. there was one day where I came home to my apartment when I was in grad school, and I looked around, and there is just like empty ice cream pints and empty tissue boxes just everywhere. And I was like, I just stood there for a moment taking that, and I was like, okay, I need to get some control over this situation. It was really funny. It's like, oh my god. Anyway,
that was from you?
that was me. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I had a bad week. I can't remember what it was about. But I was
Wow.
like, I need to work on this. This is a hot mess.
Oh,
This is a hot mess. I'm a hot mess right now.
now it's funny, but I'm sure at the time it might not have felt
I just
that way.
stood there looking at this. I was like, oh god, just taking personal inventory. I was like, I need to change some things up.
Wow.
But that's okay. That's okay. So Ron has a question. Is an unexpected blessing that anyone receives from God, or is it something that we charted before we came here? And honestly, it can be either. It can be something that you charted, or it can be, there is an actual thing called luck that actually does exist. Francine said that luck is stored up in the atmosphere, and angels can pull it down. Like, they know the things that we're looking for, so luck can happen. Angels can help us with unexpected blessings. Asna absolutely gives us unexpected blessings as well. So yeah, it can be a mix of things. That's an excellent question.
Well, the fun question to Ron is, what was that special? What did you get that was a special blessing?
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear, Ron. Gibson says, "Don't bash the ice cream."
Don't. I don't. I know it's one of those like cliche things of on rom-coms and other movies. It's the cliche of, oh my god, I'm depressed. Let's go have ice cream. But I don't know if I qualify it guilty for myself. But I have found lactose-free ice cream, and I'm like, oh.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I get totally plant-based ice cream for myself now as a
okay.
treat. But anyway,
We tried the banana version of it, and we're like, no, not so much. But anyway, but fun. Yeah, appreciate the concept of we're not bashing ice cream, because what's the scream? What's the scream? Yeah, what's the phrase? We scream, you scream, we scream, we all scream for ice cream.
yeah, it's funny. Okay, so Gibson says. Gibson says, "I'm an Aries, and we are a very, very dominating sign. This is her answer to us. I'm watching and keeping myself in check, and not taking over certain things." Okay, good for you. It's an interesting thing to round out. That's cool. Sylvia said that Aries people can be very, very excellent teachers. So I just remembered that. And then Ron says, the reason I ask is because I hear people say, be good always because you don't want to block your blessings.
I see. All right. Well, I guess that depends on the context of that being given. It's like, do we want to walk around feeling guilty all the time, whether we're being nice or not, or are we doing the best we can with what we've got? and on occasion, maybe we'll do something nice for somebody. Well, actually, we're supposed to do a nice thing every day. So,
Yeah.
um, keeping that in mind, but but I guess what does it mean to you? What is it for you? But that goes back to what Kat was saying. Is yes, we've written him in. Yes, you could be getting a special accolade for something you've done, or you set yourself up. If I accomplish this, this is going to happen for me. As far as a chart or someone on the other side. Oh, for example, a fun one that came to mind was Sylvia when she met her last husband. Uh, um, that was, I think, I can't remember who was involved with pushing those two together, but they were brought together and thought that was something fun and helpful for Sylvia. To me, that's a kind of like a similar thing. Um, um, a special blessing that those
Mhm.
two were brought together.
Yeah, that is cool. I wanted to remind people of one thing that's kind of related to this. So, when we say that something is charted, if you get to an event, Francine said that, okay, you get to an event and now, it's a charted thing, but what does that mean? And Francine said that someone could have 20 different options of what they charted to do. So I don't want people to ever feel like they be like, oh, okay, well, this was meant to be, so it has to be this way. Like, no, you have personal choice in the matter. You have um,
Mm-hmm.
personal
Mm-hmm.
say in what's going on with this charted event. And so you don't have to feel like things are so fatalistic because we say like, oh, something is charted. It's like you have tons of choices that
You
you could possibly do.
you ask for an experience. An example is a car accident. Say you've charted the experience. I want an experience to have a car accident, and you can ask for blessings to say, oh, I only want a fender bender. I don't want to total the car. So there are leeway. If you're looking for Mr. or Mrs.
Absolutely.
Right, um, well, the half half the half of that's gonna have to be you getting out. Are you one? Are you Mr. or Mrs. Right? And two, are you waiting for them to knock on your door, or are you getting out there and participating in
In
socializing so
life,
that you
yeah.
will meet them? It's the choices.
Choices. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm looking at the clock. I know that we're having a fantastic conversation here, but I'm wondering if you think it's time to move to special prayers.
Yep. We could
Okay,
go on and on and on.
I know we're having a great talk.
And appreciate the ideas because this shares everybody gets to learn from this is how
Absolutely,
I think of it. So
I love
uh
it.
what where do I keep those things? Oh, thank you. That's not where I keep them. It's what I'm supposed to do with them. So for everyone that's listening, let's and doesn't matter when you're listening to this, because there is no time on the other side. We want to picture ourselves all putting our energy together. For those that have either are asking, will ask, have put in special prayers requests to the website on the prayer chain or in whatever form. And if there's something you can think of that someone could use some help with. Let's take a moment of silence and we're going to all visualize the outcome that we think that would be helpful for the given situation and for the greater good. Amen. So again, if you've got something you want to publish or send in, you can go to the website and post a prayer request there. Also, be the prayer. If you see a need, fill it.
Yes.
Let's see. You've mentioned that one. So what's next? Yes, if you have challenges with streaming at 6 p.m. on Wednesday evenings Pacific time, you can always call in and listen on the conference call. That number is 888-534-2696. Yes, I know there's people listening in, and we do appreciate if you keep muted so that everybody enjoys the session. And, oh, wow, okay. Now it says trance segments. So it looks like we want to find descriptions and get ourselves sorted into training.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you good.
Okay, fantastic. So the first segment, Raheim is continuing to answer a variety of questions. He's going to start answering a health question. And as a reminder, always consult your doctor. We are not doctors. These are just things to keep in mind. So he's going to talk first about George Washington's destiny. Animals do perceive color. 95% of nightmares are past life related. The purpose of dreams are release, precognitive, or wishes. And it's common to dream about past life flashbacks.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. Take some notes.
Okay. And then to change the subject, at what point in Washington's life did he turn white? George Washington? You said...
Yes. I was trying to get the exact age. I think about 15, 16.
Is it when he had a great love?
Not only a great love, but he realized that he had a destiny. A lot of people do not realize they have a destiny, and all of a sudden when a person gets a destiny, although dark entities get their own destinies too, but no, his was a pure destiny.
And that makes Kalen such a counterpart now, because he's had the opportunities and he hasn't taken that destiny. Kato Kalen.
Oh, he's a non-entity.
Oh, of course, but
He's a...
but just fine. But you know, working with children, it's kind of interesting
to see
it.
Yeah, to see it develop at a young age.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Do cats see, and like instead of seeing us, they see like the image or the aura or the spirit of the person? Like when we've asked the guides to stand around us and protect us from certain things, the cat will be like looking around. Like,
Yes.
Who are these people?
Yes. A cat does see in very, very good living color. So does a dog. You know, science has tried for years to say animals do not see in color. That's not true. That's not true. They say that the bull does not see the red. All he sees is a flashing coat in front of him. He sees the color. I'm always amazed at science telling us what the dog or the cat or the can see when the dog or the cat has never told them. In fact, they see in more living color than we do, and besides, because they do not have the lens that the human has, of course science says then they can't possibly see the same color, because if they had the lens of a cat or dog in a human eye, they couldn't stand the color. Couldn't stand it. Yes.
I was wondering if, because I tried a couple of our techniques this weekend, if the little boy is having a nightmare, and you go in and tell them you stay in this lifetime, it's only this lifetime.
Yes.
It didn't work 3 times. Finally, the 3rd time I walked in there, I said, "Get out. Just get out, everybody." Now, I don't know, is that an offshoot of the growl? Because it stopped it. He woke up, he goes, "Hi, Kimmy." And he stopped having the nightmare. My back pain went away for a moment. What was that about? I mean,
I think in all due respect, sometimes there can be darkness that tortures in dreams too. Most of the time, I would say at least 85 to 90% of the time it's past life, but you always have that maybe 10 to 15% that, yeah, and when in doubt, they get out anyway.
Yeah.
In fact, yourself, like we did that night, I won't be sick, and with such furor, then say to yourself also, the illness, get out. Get out, because you see, when you do this, there is an endorphin that is released that floods through the body and changes the physiological mechanism.
Does that endorphin rush that I get transmit it to him too?
Sure.
So that he can
That's what true healing is.
What is the purpose of dreams and why do we dream?
Oh, it's a release. And some are precognitive and some are wishes. They come into 3 categories. Because that's the only vent that your mind has in a quiet state to ramble, to get rid of all the daily. You see, you're always walking around in a state of absorption. Sylvia, when she was in college, did some fantastic dream research that I don't think very many people are aware of, including not even you. She did 12 people, found from one young woman that she kept coming up with this very Latin name. In fact, it was an older woman. Come to find out that this woman had picked this Latin name up when she had walked through a biology lab, and there was a jar with some, I guess you might call it almost protoplasm of some kind in it. And this name was long. And this woman, just glancing, had absorbed it, and it came out in a dream later. It's amazing what your dream. Now, get all those little bits and pieces that you don't think you know, all the little bits and pieces that you do know, and put it into the mind that is in a quiet state, and it rambles. It's very much like people who have not slept for a while will go into very bizarre dreamlike qualities. And if you ever notice, if you've been up for a long time, you'll be talking to someone and you will talk very bizarre. You'll say very strange things. And it's almost like you're talking in a dialect that no one understands. By the way, Enid, Kathy says to give you her love, and she is very happy, and she has been visiting all the time with the dogs.
And they're not crazy.
No, not crazy.
And I was right.
Yes, you were right.
Thank you, Raheim. And please thank her, because I thought for a while that...
No. She says she's even gotten to the point that there was she says an apron that she had, and she said she moved it on you.
She sure did. I spent an hour trying to find it.
So she's very active, very in full form.
Raheim, back on the dream subject. A lot of times in having a dream that's quite vivid, one tries to decipher it. To
do a gestalt on it.
Yes, put it in its proper place so you can use it to the best of your ability. If you dream about an individual that you have in your life, and they come into the dream here and there, and some of them you can tell the difference between a dream state and literally being somewhere with that person. Sometimes you get feelings, or you get a sense that there's something wrong with the person. It comes to you very clear. It's stomach, it's stress, whatever. Pretty on target to assume that that's what's happening with that person.
Yes.
And if the information is just really for you to have, and if maybe it presents itself, you can pass that along to
Yes, I would, because you're in a very spiritual environment, I think I would approach the person, Make sure, though, that you have a fix for it. In other words, I always, and Sylvia's always said she hates the drop shoe waiting for the other one. I see that you have a bad heart. What do you do with that? You better follow it up with, even in your dreams, you can do directed dreams. Yes. In other words, if I dream about someone that has a bad stomach, a bad head, then please let me follow through and go to records and see what I can do. Don't just leave me hanging with that information without no borders on it.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Can dreams also be flashbacks from past lives or the other side?
Absolutely. In fact, those are the most common. More than you ever realize.
Because about 2 years ago, I had a dream, and it came back in, or was reminded of it when you talked about your trip into the left door, and it's like vivid image of like exactly like, but like seeing through your eyes or whatever. And I thought maybe I was at the lecture or something, and I was remembering.
You did. You were at the lecture when I was talking about it. You were absolutely at the lecture. And you were enraptured then too and wanted to go, and I said, no, someday we'll think about it. When we can slip away again.
We'll have a whole tour bus go.
Yes.
When you have two different people praying and they're praying opposite things, how does that work out? Somebody's praying for it to rain, somebody's praying for it to be hot. Yeah.
For the greater good of the mass will come true. For the greater good of the mass will always come true. It's like somebody could pray for somebody to die, and people do that. Somebody pray for somebody to live. Of course, the chart's always set anyway. But unless there is an interference, which often happens with asthma, the greater good will always come about. People need drought more than flood, whatever.
Well, that's
Fascinating.
yeah, a lot of fun refresh on dreams and helping people with understanding it, and going going back to the gentleman that was thinking about going through the left door, and Larry chimes in and says, "Yes, there's going to be a tour bus," and I'm like, "Oh, that's funny."
That was funny.
I could just imagine us, on the other side, sitting up a tour bus. Hey, we're gonna take a tour of the left door. Anybody want
to go to see the dark other side?
Yes, exactly. I mean, like
I'm gonna be like, bye. You can do that.
Just like we would sign up to go to, on a cruise or on a tour cruise of like natural, out in the forest or something to learn about the. Anyway.
It's funny.
Fun stuff.
Raheim has said that groups of people do go over there, but they'll go in a group. They'll go to the dark other side, usually for a specific purpose for the council, like they need information on something. But they'll go as a group, so I don't know.
I hadn't remembered that one. Okay.
Yeah, because Raheim kept saying like he was the one person that was stupid and went alone, and so that that's
an inference, you're saying?
Yeah, that's an inference. That's an inference that there's other people that will go in groups.
I see.
He's mentioned the groups a couple times like that.
Fun. Oh, and the mention at the beginning of the lady named Kathy. That was a minister, Kathy Laws. The lady you heard commenting was her mom, Enid Laws, and she was those two got in. They were in the ministry. They started before I did. They'd been in the ministry for a while. Kathy had MS, was wheelchair bound, and eventually had passed while sometime in the ministry after I had become a minister. So yes, I was familiar with her, and I just wanted to share.
Thank you.
And fun that what deceased loved ones will do for us and do to us. So
I moved my mom's apron. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, that we've heard people talk about how lights will flicker in the house, or you might recall from when my dad passed, the day after the memorial, we went down to the beach, and that normally I don't get phone calls for new leads coming in, and it's like one or two every 2 weeks or something. And on that day we were at the beach, I had either 9 or 11 phone calls come in for new leads. I'm like, okay, I get it. Yes, I was annoyed throughout the day because I was, how do you say, felt bad that I wasn't answering the calls. I was, I told my boss I wasn't going to answer these calls, and all out of, from the throughout the day there was like 9 or 10 calls, and I'm like, oh my god. And then it dawned on me, duh. What do I love? And I had mentioned in the memorial, in his memorial, I said, I challenge all of you, watch for what he does to let you know that he's on the other side.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. If anyone has any dreams that are interesting that they would like to share or have questions about, I'd definitely love to hear your stories. Leslie shares, perfect timing to hear about how opposite prayers will always come out for the better good. Yeah, that was a really cool question. So if anyone didn't catch that, he was saying that if Tom was praying for rain and I was praying for sunshine, so two opposite things, then what ends up coming about is going to be whatever's for the greater good of the mass.
Mm-hmm.
Mass greater good. So that's how that gets settled. So interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, all I can imagine is if we forced the activities to happen, I'm standing around praying for thunder and lightning, and someone else is praying for sunshine. Can you imagine what would, if each of us could implement that at the same time, what that would look like in the same place?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes we do get rain in the sun, so, when there's sun shining.
Yeah. So I guess I had a dream once that I thought was pretty compelling to be about maybe a past life. So maybe I'll just share a couple words. I had this feeling, this sensation of being pulled backwards. And it was
Mm-hmm.
very, very strong feeling. And so I literally felt like I was being pulled backwards. And then I felt like I was being pulled to the side and just like across miles and miles and miles, like super, super fast. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm being pulled backward in time to another location on Earth.
Mm.
And so, but then where I was standing in this very futuristic city, but all of the landscape was pretty much destroyed. It just looked like, it just looked, everything was dead, like just no trees left. It was like a dust bowl in a way. But the city itself was very futuristic and had logos everywhere. It was very commercialized. There was a spaceport. But everyone like lived inside, because my impression was that you couldn't live outside because outside might have like acid rain or something. I don't know. It was just very, very strange. Like, it was clearly, yeah, it was very, very interesting. So my impression was like, I still wonder if that was like an Atlantis city. Like that was my takeaway. That was my takeaway from that.
Interesting. Good fun.
Yeah. So just as an example of
Any other comments, or do we go to the next segment?
Yes. Melissa shares. Hi, Melissa. My mom and I had a chat yesterday, and she asked me, Lisa, do you remember that day at church and you saw a bright light above the stage where the preacher was standing, and it shocked me? That's interesting. So it sounds like maybe the preacher was getting some infusion that day. That's interesting. Very cool. And then Miller says, I'm native Plains Cree from my late mom, but the way we gather and pray in ceremony, it is a collective prayer, and it gets this feeling of energy, and it's a very good. It's such a good feeling of goodness. That's really cool. That's really cool. And then Melissa shares one more time. I had a friend pass away, and he came to me in my dreams. Yeah, it was beautiful. It's beautiful.
Those are, yeah.
Yeah.
can be helpful to us when we're grieving or challenged in that way, or distraught, and they come in and help us out.
Yeah, they do. Okay. I guess we'll move on to our next segment then. Thank you for the comments. So next we have Raheim's thoughts on arthritis and fibromyalgia. Our diets lack polyunsaturated oil as opposed to animal fat.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes. Large amounts of sugar and fruits are hard on the body. Aloe, lecithin, and primrose oils are great. Atkins diet is great, but leave out the cheese. And Jesus married Magdalene at 29, and she was 19 at the time. And then he's going to talk about vegetarianism.
Fun. All right.
All right.
I'm ready here. Let's take notes.
Yes.
Arthritis is something I don't believe in, but a lot of my clients seem to be experiencing it. What's the real cause and what's the real solution?
Sylvia said some time ago, and I think she said as early as today, we are a country, a nation, a world that is being poisoned. That's not negative, it's fact. You're going to find people more with joint and aches and pains and backs and necks and shoulders than you've ever seen before. Her grandmother always said that whatever water can reach, water can heal. Sylvia's philosophy is whatever blood can reach, blood can heal. Both are right. Without exercise, without massage, without manipulation of the body, you are not going to survive without a lot of pain. You're going to have to get massages, you're going to have to walk, you're going to have to move. If you don't get some blood to your, especially your extremities and your back area, you're not going to make it into the next century. You may make it, but you're going to be awfully gnarled up. And tragically, people are not eating enough oil. In this day and age of non-fat diets, people are cutting out all their oil, and they have no lubricant.
Is polymyalgia an offshoot of that, or is it just a...
Polymyalgia is an offshoot of fibromyalgia, which is an inflammation of soft tissue. And more, did you ever know of anybody to have this before years ago? Nobody even knew what this meant. It's a soft tissue illness. Let's not call it a disease. That's a negative implant. It's an illness. And it usually happens with sedentary people. And it usually happens with people that have gained too much weight rapidly. And not even the weight gain is so bad, but the sluggishness of what the weight gain causes. I don't know how, and I know Sylvia obsesses to Francine almost every night of her life, how to convince most of you to try to convince people to stop the sugar. I don't know what more I can tell you. These fruits and vegetables and starches are killing you. Are killing you. You think because you eat brands and grains, maybe you should eat brains, is that you're eating too much of rice cakes and bread, and you think that's not putting on the poundage, and it's just wreaking havoc with your liver, your kidneys, your pancreas is taking such a beating. People say, but I'm not eating fat. No, you're just eating like a chicken. And you don't have the system of a chicken.
Would aloe be applicable for someone?
Very good. Aloe's very good. Lecithin's very good. Primrose oil is very good. You're going to find out, not that I believe in people eating a lot of fat, but you're going to find out eventually this cholesterol is a fad.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Not that I want anybody to hit 400 or something, unless you're genetically predisposed to this.
I just never believed in that either.
It's the fad of the early 90s. It'll fast go out. Yes.
So if you have a high protein diet, one of the things you can, according to the Atkins diet, is to have, he says, you can have cheese. Well, dairy products are supposed to be really bad for your joints. is it just because it's the dairy product, or is it the hormones and the chemicals that are in it?
No. Remember I said to you with the modification of cheese, I said use the Atkins. That was actually, it should be taped. And Aina said it too. I said use the Atkins, but with the modification of cheese. Because cheese is not good for you. It's just, and you're right. Years ago, the person who churned the butter, made it cheese, did the sour cream, but not now.
It's so contaminated now. Yeah.
So is your meat. So
So
contaminated.
even non-hormone, that you can go to stores and get organic non-hormone stuff, that's contaminated.
Probably the thing that is the least contaminated at this point, but we don't know next week.
Yeah.
It's like tune in and see is chicken. Even fish is better. Turkey is very good. And there's a wide variety. Meat, if you're going to eat it at all, make sure that it is very, very well done. And if you do not like your meat well done, then don't eat it at all. Because raw meat is now containing E. coli, Roger.
Yes.
You said we don't eat enough oil. So, but we were also told not to eat fried food.
That's not oil. You were told to eat polyunsaturated oil. You weren't told to eat fat oil.
Yeah. Canola, sunflower.
Canola, sunflower, olive, virgin olive is wonderful. That's not a fat. It's an oil.
Okay. Like lard.
Lard, no. Lard, no. Lord, no lard.
Was Christ, did I hear right that Christ and Magdalene were married, or
Sure, they were married. They had children.
but before they even left for France?
Yes.
Okay, so how old was he when they got together? In his early 20s?
30. 29 to be exact.
How old is Magdalene?
20. No, 19.
What do you think of raw eggs?
Oh, no. Salmonella. That's what I think of that. Salmonella. You don't want to eat anything raw anymore. No. I'm not even very, and I know Sylvia loves this, and she's going to be having a fit when she hears this. But you can't even eat raw fish anymore. She loves sushi, but you've got to be very careful of it.
Thank God.
Why? You didn't have to eat it.
I know, it stinks though.
It's bad to eat thin salad with oil and vinegar dressing?
Of course not.
No, but you were talking
Be
about
reasonable about oil.
You were talking
Oil is not fat. Fat is meat fat, lard fat.
Because you were talking about your vegetables are killing you, your fruits.
If you do that in large amounts.
Large amounts.
Yes.
Your sole source.
Okay.
If you're a vegetarian at this point, in this time, in this century, you are in big trouble.
No, I'm not a vegetarian.
No. And you're in big trouble, Avi. Unless you eat a lot of soy, unless you eat tofu, unless you take complex amino acids, then I have no. But you see, what happens with the vegetarian is they don't do that religiously. I have nothing against vegetarians, only the ones that slack off on their protein intake. And you have to eat an awful lot of soy to get your...
To get enough protein.
Yes, there we go.
There you go. a lot of soybeans, and what I recall a helpful rule of thumb, and I'm open to being countered, is one of the things to distinguish oils from fat is what does it look like when it's cold. When you've cooked in an oil and you've cooked with grease or fat, when you let the pan you've cooked the meat and you let the pan get cold, what's the consistency of what's left over? You know,
Exactly.
fats typically are, look like paste, and that's what we want to avoid. When you use like olive oil or vegetable oils, and you've cooked something in the pan, vegetables or fish or even chicken. When you remove the chicken and the pan gets cold, what's left over? Does it slosh around, or is it stuck to the pan? Another, if you really wanted to be, turn the pan upside down. If it stays, that's fat. If it doesn't, anyway,
Hmm.
do that at your own discretion.
Yes. Um, so I remember the first time that Raheim was really going on about oils, and somebody asked a question about how d about does he have any thoughts about how to heal psoriasis?
Uh huh.
And I had these very, very stubborn patches of skin where skin would just just flaked off. It was really, really, really uncomfortable and unsightly. And I had three different very large patches. And I tried like energy healing. I tried all sorts of different things. I tried creams. Like I was just at my wit's end trying to get this stuff to heal. And Raheim or Francine. They sound the same.
And look the same.
They look the same. Oh no. I they said that's usually an issue of lack of oil in your system, so you need a lot more oil. So I started taking like fish oil and doing a lot more olive oil in my cooking and things like that. And after a couple months, all of it healed. And I realized, okay, I fall into that category of people who needs extra oil, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. So I thought that was a very compelling statement that they keep making, that our diets in our culture are low on healthy oil.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? What? He was talking about we shouldn't be eating all the grains and and what's the fun thing to go and get in the morning instead of um, having eggs for breakfast? It's get a muffin, get a bagel, throw some cream cheese on that bagel, and those kind of things are what. And how did I grow up? Well, it's cereal and milk.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up on, and now it's like,
It
no,
goes
get away.
Tarts. No.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
hard on the body.
Yeah,
Mm.
all
All the
those fun things.
syrup on top of the white bread
White bread
waffles.
pancakes. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, the waffles too. Yeah. But
very
then
hard on
again,
the body.
one of my favorites is peanut butter and maple syrup on waffles. That's my.
That actually actually doesn't sound half bad, but yeah, I can see how things. Yeah, our morning diets are terrible. My goodness. Um, that is an area that I think I will work on, because I've been skipping breakfast a lot and I just need to get better at it. So I'll be
Yeah.
thinking
See,
about it.
I'm like
I'll be thinking about it.
I'm
Right.
for me personally, because I'm off the antidepressants. Um, I started a while ago of I gotta get protein.
Mm,
We've heard, we've got to eat a lot more protein, and it's something like 35 grams of protein a day minimum. Where are
wow.
you gonna, and what's breakfast? It's a break of fast. We have fasted for how many hours, and where body is looking for. This is my idea. We're looking for nourishment in the morning, or we should be, and to throw, either nothing at it and expect to be able to do something throughout the day. I'm like, no, thank you. I got to get something. I'm more, how do you say, anxious about not getting my protein
Yeah.
in the morning. So I'm like, 2 eggs, spinach. I like my uh, pico de gallo, which is
Yum.
chopped onions, tomatoes, green pepper, and jalapenos.
Hmm.
they're all fried in the pan with olive oil, and throw the eggs on top, and that's breakfast. And yes, I love sourdough bread, so that's like okay, those are my once in a while. I'll
Mhm.
make I like fried egg sandwiches, so with salsa on it, and but mine's like it's got to be some kind of protein in the morning.
Yeah, Chris Dufresne actually chewed me out over not eating breakfast, and I was like, I
Oops.
didn't. I didn't tell him about any of my diet things, but he chewed me out. He's like, you realize how cranky and difficult to be around you are when you don't eat. It's like, I got called out really bad.
Yeah, and
Called out
and
really
what's the other thing? What's the other
I didn't know. I'm sorry.
what, what's the other thing that our philosophy, our society is start the coffee.
Right.
Get a cup of coffee. What's the coffee? Coffee is a diuretic. What's that telling your body to do? Get rid of water.
To get rid of water, and we need
And what
water.
what what haven't you consumed for the last 8-10 hours?
Water. True.
Right. And you're
Yeah.
telling your body to get rid of it. So,
We're going to hear about coffee in our next segment.
oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
hey,
really helpful stuff.
my ears are ringing or getting
All right.
warm over here. So,
All right.
we're okay. I'm supposed to be sitting up here. Fun. All right.
All right, cool. Got a couple questions. Sherry asks, what about the ingredients that are in vitamins and supplements? Some are toxic. Which ones are pure? Ooh. My recommendation is to look at the list of supplements that Francine has suggested specifically. That's in Journey of Souls 3, right? The health
Yep.
one?
Yep.
Yeah, that would be the best that I could offer on that one.
And I hope your ears are burning over there because I just edited segments.
Oh.
Raheim lays out. Was it Raheim? Yeah, I think it's Raheim lays out the one talks about what Sylvia likes to take, and suggested recommendations for vitamins.
Cool.
His likes and dislikes. So fun.
Cool.
These trance segments are the basis from our Journey of the Soul books, but the Journey of the Souls, put it in order, and there's a really fun section on nutrition, and if you've got an issue, there's index in most of those where you can refer. Hey, what was the suggestion for that? So that's fun
Yeah.
stuff. So that's why I jokingly say, hey, I hope your ears are burning because you're picking up on what's coming up.
Mm-hmm. Sherry says, I look at those, yes, but the ingredients in the bottles are so bad for you. Yeah, some of the ingredients are gnarly. Okay, please don't hate me. I personally take multivitamins from a company called doTERRA after doing my own research. That is what I came to. And I also use a company called Pure, Pur. And then if I can't find anything from like those two, then I'll just kind of do my best to find other, to do Google searches of saying like least toxic supplement for like this whatever thing that I'm looking for, and I'll go that direction. So that's what I personally do for myself. Is
spoiler alert, Raheim was pointing out that Sylvia liked Centrum, the Centrum brand of multivitamin, just to sort of cover everything. So that'll be a fun one to reference and gauge, for yourself. And I appreciate people thinking about these different things and how they, because I never thought about what goes into those. It's like, just give me something, and second of all, find something that's coated so I can swallow it, because man, things those kind of things just stick in my throat when I try and swallow them. Anyway, but that's my experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And it might also be nice to talk to an actual nutritionist about this particular topic as well. An actual
Yeah.
nutritionist will have some really grounded in scientific recommendations. So
That's since they've studied it and have general helpful knowledge on.
yeah,
Fun.
absolutely.
Are we on to?
Okay, so our last segment, we are going to talk about vegetarianism done right. Lysine supports herpes infection. Calcium in Tums for kids. More about breakfast. Too much salad, brans, and grains are hard on the stomach. Don't have caffeine on an empty stomach. Green tea is excellent. We're going to hear about an ingredient called Psyllium and fennel seed for colic. And then the macrobiotic diet has a very strong clarification about when to use it and when not to. So, okay.
Fun.
Thank you.
All right. Here we go. Let's get some notes.
Yes.
Don't they also, isn't B12 lacking in a true vegetarian diet?
Yes, absolutely. B6 is too.
Yes.
They don't get the Bs. Now they can supplement, but it's not like eating. Although soy is a wonderful, wonderful way to get protein. You see, even the Maasais, even though think they're vegetarians, will drink blood and milk. I don't recommend that, but at least they know that their bodies are supposed to. Most of the primitive people, left to their own vested interest, or let's say their instinctual interest, know that they need protein. You never find primitive man anywhere unless they're just out in a place in which there is no, will ever become a vegetarian.
Lysine tablets, okay?
Lysine is very good for the treatment of herpes, by the way. Not that you need that.
Well, I just take it every day, one tablet every day. Is that okay? To get protein?
Well, no, you're not going to get the full scope of protein. You can't. You have to take all of them in one capsule.
Oh, so just taking one protein is not valuable?
Not valuable at all.
Oh, okay.
So you have to take taurine, cysteine, L-phenylalanine, lysine. I mean, go on and on we go. Yes.
Calcium for children and also adults. In the form of Tums, is that
very good?
Applicable? That would be a good source.
Very good.
One for each child, and then for an adult, one on
Sylvia, from the time that Angelia was a baby, she gave her a Tum. The baby loves them, eats Tums, chews on it, gummed it. Yes. Because Sylvia is adamant about her grandchildren drinking milk. She won't allow it, and they go along with it. She wouldn't even go along with that either. No. She feeds them all other things besides that, supplements, but she won't let them have milk.
Raheim, what would be a more balanced way to eat? Because I'm one of those people who tends to go right for the breads, the brans, and that kind of thing. If I wanted to rearrange that, for example, breakfast, lunch, dinner, do I want to be doing that much more protein for the 3 meals, or what's the best way to stuff?
If you always measure and make sure that you're higher up on the protein scale, such as having eggs or some, let's say, even meat for breakfast. See, I don't know why you always think that there's a certain type of food that you should have for breakfast. It's ridiculous. We find it to be amazing. It's sometimes I think it's even better that I've seen some people even eat what you call your round pies with all the things on it.
Pizza?
For breakfast. That's even better. That's even better than some of the grains and brans, because at least it's got some meat and better than even your so-called frosted mini wheat. And you're eating a double sugar there. You're eating a lactose sugar and you're eating a sugar.
So that's why you got to knock off the breads because of the sugar in there and the veggies too.
So you're going to want to do some protein for breakfast. For lunch, you're going to want to do the same. A little bit of the vegetable, more so the protein. And maybe not any grains at lunch.
Sylvia eats 2 scrambled eggs in the morning. Let me give you her diet. She's done very well on it, by the way. And for lunch, she might eat a sandwich, and that's probably her only grain or bread. And then she'll eat a salad. And then for dinner, she eats fish, and that's it.
And no fish, and that would be by itself.
She doesn't eat the rest of the stuff. Once in a while, she'll have a corn on the cob, but if she does that, then she won't ever sell it.
So really won't do that.
No fruit. No fruit.
She takes vitamin C. Oh, once in a while, you can fool your mind, as she says, for a week. She went out the other night and she had raspberries.
I wanted to ask about lettuce. Is lettuce, for some people, it's hard for digestion?
Yes, especially with anybody with a reflex action in the stomach, it's very hard, especially with anyone with a hiatal hernia or a reflex action. Very hard, very caustic. And too much brans and grain yes, is very hard on the digestive tract. Very hard. Too much salad will cause a reflex. Will make your stomach hurt.
The invention, I guess, of Coca-Cola and Pepsi and things like that, that's the thing that really brought sugar into the diet of the people here.
Well, more important than that, in the early days of Coca-Cola, it was laced with Coke.
Yeah. But what choice do we have now for our liquids? The caffeine is not that good, right?
Caffeine is not that bad if used in dinner or food. Caffeine on an empty stomach is not good. We see people do that all the time. A cup of coffee or a cup of coffee with, but usually after you've eaten. If you're going to drink coffee at all, but don't drink it after 6 o'clock. Use it in the morning or afternoon, but eat it with meals. I mean, take it with meals. You have water. You can have some juice, but don't get carried away on that because that will throw you off into the carbohydrate. Yes. Tea is very good, because caffeine is submerged by the tannic acid.
We're kind of left with a lot of varieties of tea, I think.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of teas that are made from Psyllium or have Psyllium in it, which is a natural diuretic for the system.
Green tea?
Green tea is wonderful, by the way. It has properties that we've been studying for years.
I noticed about lanolic and linolenic acids that from flaxseed.
Mm-hmm.
That's good in breads and just the oil itself they call it linseed oil.
Linseed oil, yes. But if you really want to get the best kind of oil, it's really still the lecithin oil is the best.
What kind?
Lecithin.
Lecithin?
Yes.
I find fennel seed is very good for lots of things. Also for babies, fennel seed.
Fennel seed is very good. Very good. Yes. Yes, good for babies with chronic colic. Yes.
In one of our sessions earlier, somebody mentioned about a macrobiotic diet. They were talking about cancer patients, and my mom is that, and we've been talking about this. I'm trying some of it this weekend, but that macrobiotic diet is like you're supposed to have 60% of your daily intake in grains. And now you're saying that all that grain isn't really good for you.
I never once mentioned somebody in illness, did I? I said you people that are well. Now, in illness, what you should do is change the diet drastically to change the cell structure. And then eventually, when she beats it, then go back to the protein.
Oh, so it is good for that particular...
Absolutely, and it was mentioned, and I have mentioned, very good. Even a person who's on, let's say, has lived that kind of diet should then, if they have an illness, change drastically to, let's say, a protein diet.
And I recall that shift that Raheim was talking about of if you've lived on carbohydrates and you want to make a shift, make an adjustment for yourself, uh, drop all the carbs and hit the protein. Let your system reacclimate itself, readjust itself for having all protein, and then reintroduce a little bit of the carb kind of things, the vegetables and other things to go with it.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to be in the room with Francine once, and I had asked her, how do I get out of chronic pain? And she told me, you have fibromyalgia and you need to eat a ton more protein and a ton less carbohydrates. And I said to myself, okay, that's different and interesting. So I decided I would do basically what we're talking about here. And I decided to do an elimination diet. And I was like, I am only going to eat meat for a week. I'm just, whatever is going to get me out of pain, I'm going to do it. I was just headstrong. I'm going to fix this. And so I cut out everything and I only ate meat for a week. And by, I think I want to say day number 3, my pain levels had cut in half.
Wow.
And it was just a miraculous change. And so I was like, okay, so this is like an established positive. It's an established positive. Like, this is the first significant relief that I've had, apart from acupuncture. And so I just stayed on having just a ton of meat, and I gradually added in more food. I added in greens like the following week. And then I was like, okay, now I'm going to test this out. And I added in corn, and corn is a grain. It's not technically a vegetable. It's a grain.
Mm-hmm.
So I added in grain, and my pain levels exploded 2 hours later.
Wow.
I was like, interesting.
That's an interesting point of corn being considered a grain, not a vegetable. Because to me, you cook it and you got a corn on the cob. That looks like a vegetable, not a grain.
It does, yeah, but it's a grass. Yeah, it's a grass technically.
Huh.
Yeah, so so that's what I did, and now I can eat basically anything. I just choose not to eat dairy or cheese, and so as recommended. But that did have a significant change. Cell structure changed.
I appreciate the challenge of not eating dairy.
Yeah. Yeah. I was vegetarian for 3 years, and I told myself if a doctor ever told me to stop because of a health reason, then I would give it up. And so I did notice that my health was not doing as great being a vegetarian, so I did give it up. So just try to eat ethically sourced meats and go in that direction. So
cool.
Yeah.
Now's the time. Any special comments? I had seen something and then I lost track and forgot.
Yeah, it's okay. Gibson says it's a lot to digest. Yes, it is.
Pun intended.
Pun intended. Gibson's hilarious. Crack me up all the time. Jill says, Tom, take vitamins with yogurt, makes it a lot easier. Maybe coconut yogurt?
That was the one. Yes, I appreciate that one. I really appreciate if I liked yogurt. I was just thinking, I unfortunately don't like yogurt. I relate it to something that happened when I was little. I have a gag reflex with yogurt.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I don't care if it's ice cream.
No.
Yeah. And when I thought was interesting is my brother, one of my brothers had that with bananas.
Oh.
Wow, that's kind of unique. Okay, well, when we all, you lived with it and you move on and go. But
true.
I thought that was interesting because, I love bananas. So interesting difference between us. But I appreciate the idea. Yes, I will do what I can to find something that how do you say, coats my throat on the way down. And I usually are eating food, and then I'll throw, just when I'm gonna swallow something, I throw in a couple of vitamins in there, and hope that it all goes down. It's the uncoated ones that are like, no, sorry, I'm not.
No. Thank you, but
So anyway, we won't
yeah.
go any far description.
Appreciate all the
Yep.
tips and tricks.
Yeah.
Yes. Melissa says, I was told that juice of a fruit hits the system faster and is worse for you, whereas eating the fruit itself allows the fruit to be digested more slowly by your system. Like drinking the fruit juice alone instead of eating the fruit. Yeah.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, that sounds logical. Indeed.
But I don't have time for that.
Give me the sugar right now.
And I get frustrated with oranges, so trying to peel. Anyway, but that's just fun.
Yeah, that's fun. Sherry shares in Journey of the Soul Book 3, it has laetrile, which is for any disease in the body, and it has been banned in the U.S. It's Laetrile. I do recall them talking about that. I don't remember what they said. That's interesting. I'll have to go back and read. Miller says, Spirit certainly came through today. Amen to that. Melissa says, put it in a smoothie. Oh, thank you, Sherry. Page 47. Thank you. Melissa says, Tom, put your pills in a smoothie. And Jill also suggests we don't want you gagging, but maybe try some banana yogurt. Haha.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Well, how do you say uncultured? Yes, I've made banana desserts. Uncultured banana. So no, it's not going to have yogurt. But yeah, I get the fun idea. Yes, I used to have to mash years ago, before they made coated, medicines, aspirins and things like that. I had to mash them up and stick them in peanut butter and jelly, and take that down. So that was before vitamin, the vitamin thing. When I was younger, when it was, I needed a medicine or aspirin or something like that. No, let's mash those up, stick them in peanut butter or jelly, and take it down. That's what I had to do when I was younger. But it's taking time. I'm getting better, and then
I have no problem with it. Give me like a handful of
yeah,
pills.
Yeah, that's like, oh my God, how do I don't get it, but that's just because I haven't. Anyway, that's another fun story.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you for sharing, because I'm sure somebody else may get some use out of all those, fun suggestions.
Yeah, people are laughing in chat, and then Sherry says, yeah, Japan had mashed up medicine as well. It tasted gross, I bet. And Melissa says, the cat is getting his daily dose of Novus. That's true.
All right.
Spot. It's too cute. All right. So I wanted to just point out two more things that we just heard Raheim talking about, just because I think that they are really important. Don't have caffeine on an empty stomach. It is hard on your body, and that is something that I vow to do better at. And number two is that he was talking about different types of teas, but he specifically gave a shout out to green tea as being excellent, and it's getting a lot of research on the other side because it is so excellent. So I am going to try to incorporate more of that into my life. So, all right.
Fun.
That's it. That's it.
All right. So now it's time for meditation. For those of you that want to participate, find yourself a comfortable place to sit with your feet flat on the floor and your palms upward on your lap to receive that wonderful grace. And for those of you that need to pay attention to what you're doing, don't pay attention to us, but by all means come back and listen to these wonderful meditations in the on-demand when it's appropriate. And for the rest of us, we get to hear meditation here. Let's try this. Find a nice place to sit upright, with your feet flat on the floor and your hands up on your lap. Now, take 3 deep breaths to start relaxing the mind and body. And now close your eyes when you are ready.
The circle of light. Surround yourself with white light, and today more than ever, lift up your heart. Feel your heart, body, and mind lifting lightly towards God. Feel the light of God descending upon you, and ask God to show you exactly where your circle is. Revelations from God are available to you. Within your heart, feel commitment. Rinse out any fear of aging, illness, destruction, or death, even the fear of hope. Give to God completely and totally, in the same way that God's light is given to you unconditionally. Feel the Christ consciousness move within your heart. Mother God is protecting you, and God the Father is holding us all in the palm of his hand, omnipotently, supreme. Give it up, the pain, the hurt, to the Holy Spirit, which is God's light that descends upon you. Know that we will all make it through this, and we will all be on the other side together. Envision a baptism, a confirmation of our Gnostic Christian faith. We, like the early Christians, are pioneers, crusaders in a world of darkness. And we will not give up. We will stand tall and profess ourselves before God and all humanity. Feel the light shining upon you in the name of the Mother God, the Father God, the Holy Spirit, and the Christ consciousness. God bless you and keep you, and pray for me as I pray for you.
And now, on the count of 3, bring yourself all the way up, back to full consciousness. 1, 2, 3. Fully and totally awake. Wow. Talk about rejuvenating.
Crusaders of light.
I was odd visions that come to mind, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not listening. I'm just, my mind's wandering in different directions, and sometimes that's good. You know, if there's something else that you need that feels better than what's going on, that's fine. For me, it was kind of like, well, this doesn't seem right, so I'm like, hey, I'm putting that into my sandbox and neutralizing that, so I'm paying attention to what's being offered. So fun release and rejuvenation. Well, I guess that means if you have any questions about what we shared, feel free to post in chat or email us questions to kat@novus.org or tom@novus.org. We appreciate the listeners, both live and on demand. Show your appreciation that I didn't explain this earlier. No, I'm just kidding about show your appreciation to Novus New Spirit Radio by sharing, promoting, liking, subscribing, clicking on the bell so that you're notified when we get started. You can check out our websites, novus.org, sylviabrowne.com, chrisrightnow.com. Yes, we're on Facebook with Society of Novus Spiritus, Sylvia Browne Group, New Spirit Radio Show, and many study groups, Society of Novus Spiritus study groups. Yes, we're on YouTube with Society of Novus Spiritus that many of you are watching now or Check out Chris's YouTube channel, Psychic Awareness. What else do we got? We have study groups. If you want to start a study group, you'll learn more about our philosophy, and the monthly Sunday service CD that comes out, and a newsletter. You know what? I didn't do announcements. I skipped announcements. So, and I even made a special thing for it. But let me finish that while I'm at it, and hope that people are listening in. Yes, if you want to donate something and get something in return, or get something and donate to Novus, get on Amazon Smile. You can tell them that the nonprofit you want to donate to is Society of Novus Spiritus. Yes, we have Sunday services. I just posted a Sunday service recently on Facebook and YouTube. You can also post your email on the website, and you'll get a notice when the special Zoom service is being offered, and you'll get an invitation to that. The announcements, I even made a special thing for it for myself here, which is a reminder: share, promote, like, subscribe, click the email to donate, click on the bell so you're reminded, and you can actually donate on the website. New Spirit Radio, the anniversary, I was just a reminder for those that missed it last week. We are now past our 9th year.
Woohoo! That's amazing.
Our first show was August 7th of 2013.
9 years. So cool.
And I can't remember if I announced this properly or not, but in August 9th of 2020, when we were hosting on Blog Talk Radio, we had 4,031 listens from people,
Cool.
for all the episodes that we've have on there. And yes, those soon will be moved to a different location at some point. Let's see. Minister training. Yes, get on it and go get on the website and find out how to get there and what it takes for that. So I'm ushering that, urging that, because their time's running out to participate. We got that one. Oh, a fun thing I wanted to mention early was no, you know what? I'm going to save it for next week. Just get everybody on the edge of their seat. That note will come up next week. Fun. We have Novena. Thank you very much. Now is the time for Novena. If you are new, I'm going to say this phrase, and everyone's going to say it with me, and it doesn't matter when or where you are. Just say it with me and visualize all of us together in the same room. We're holding hands, making a big, huge circle to get our synergistic energy out and for the requests. So the phrase is, I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. And we're going to say that 3 times together, and then I'll let you know after each what do you call that, session segment? I'll tell you what to ask for. We'll take a moment and we'll have a moment of silence. So let's get started. Visualize all of us together in a big, big circle, holding hands, and I will start. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, ask for things for yourself. Okay. Again, I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now ask for things for others. Okay, and the last, I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, picture our light going out like a beacon for those that are seeking this spiritual knowledge, and that they find us and we get to share with them. Let's see. Show your appreciation to Francine and Raheim for researching all of this wonderful knowledge. How? Use this information and help others with it when they want it. And of course, Sylvia, we want to appreciate her coming to this insane asylum of the universe to start this movement and for showing us how to get some peace of mind and grace while we're here. Of course, Asna for helping us and protecting us while we're here, and Father God for providing the most prestigious school for us to experience, learn, and satisfy our unique spark of curiosity. Appreciate Bob Ingold for the beautiful graphics, helping with the graphics on the audio, and Sammy and Javon for the wonderful intro-outro music. For the show, writing, setup, hosting is MIT Catherine Taylor. Editing, technical direction, and hosting is Reverend Tom Bigley. And now, I will somehow figure out how to get a prayer from Sylvia started here.
All right.
Oh. There we go. Cool. Enjoy.
Rejuvenation prayer. I would like my energy to be boosted and for all cloaks or shrouds to be removed. I am a child of God. I am free of any darkness. I've accepted the Christ consciousness and the power of Asna. The Mother God into my heart and my very being is illuminated in all areas. I'm empowered with the will of Almighty God to be well, to be fruitful, and to be optimistic. I am resting in your hands and your heart, O Mother and Father God. Please lead me, direct me, give me peace, and show me the way. Amen.
And Kat's gonna tell us after I love Kendall.
Quote from Jesus: remember to love God with your whole heart,
For so
mind, and soul.
long we have ignored you.
Good night. Love you.
As if you were not there. All praise went to the Father. We were so unaware that through the years you've shed your tears for all the pain we bear. Oh, Asna, how we love you. Place no one above you. planted every blade of grass, creator of the stars. And when I'm feeling down and out, you mend my broken heart. So now I sing this song of thanks because of who you are. Oh, Asna, how we love you. Place no one above you. Always thinking of you. Bless your name. You are Mother God. You're more than a friend to me. You give me everything I need. In your peace you hold me tight. You are the bringer of the light. With no fear we boldly stand, because you hold